Lance, I'm going to connect it to, as we said, we are in construction season, which is, summer is where it gets heavy, but summertime is also intern season. We have a lot of interns working with us, also, new project engineers, and those are coming from a newer, or let's say a younger generation, which is tech savvy. They understand technology and they're embracing it, I would say, faster. So just wondering, how does it feel, and what do you think about this younger generation jumping on the field as well?
It's pretty unique. I mean, we've been going through it for a few years here, right? With a generation who grew up with phones and grew up with computers and grew up with iPads, where I watched my niece, who's 2, the other day. She just walked up to her mom's phone, flipped it, touched it a couple times, and now she's taking pictures and selfies and Snapchatting. And I'm like, okay, you're 2. Why are you doing this? Where you go, where my parents' generation, and my dad had a flip phone till like a year and a half ago. So, so you can, the difference that happens there, you really get a good blend of a younger generation who's grown up with it, and they are a little more intuitive to where to go next, where maybe our older generation, you can get buy-in, but it's going to take them a little bit to understand it or want to click that next step. So you get those two together. You get an older generation who's really teaching you the hard, basic skills of what's going on, how to maybe deal with people, how to get buy-in from other trades, how to have that bedside manner that you really need to have as a superintendent or as a field person. But then you get this younger generation who's coming in and showing, well, this is how easy it is to do this technology. This is how we can go through and make that happen. Sometimes they get a little click happy. They're thinking they know where the next thing's going to come from without taking a step back. Right. So, I mean, Ariel, I think we've talked about that last couple of weeks, but sometimes they go through and they just rip it out, whatever you ask them to do. And you're like, okay, but what did you learn from what you just did? Or, hey, you missed these steps because you didn't take a second to think and take a step back. So the blend of the two generations, that older generation explains to them what they're learning, how to take that step back, how to take a second. You may know where you're going, but make sure you see where you're going, to stop and smell the roses per se. Make sure you see something and get the full picture of where you're at. Don't just slam through something because you can.
I'm thinking about submittal logs, man, and how those were, hundreds of pages that we need to go through, pick them up and say, okay, we need to get this product data, this sample, so on. Now we're using tech that you just upload the PDFs. It consumes the data and spit out a log. But again, there's a lot of information there that's it's not finalized, right? We need to review that. And I think that's, they get trigger happy and they think they're done. It's like, no, wait, we need to think about this. What does this mean for the job?
Yeah, I can think of one of our superintendents, and Ariel, you'll probably know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to name names on it. He's mid-50s and submittal log, submittal list, Excel. I mean, he gets it, he'll use it, but it's not his favorite. So I remember when we first used our submittal program and he found out he could take the entire spec book that's 500 pages, throw it into a PDF viewer, and boom, within, 20 minutes, he has his entire submittal log out. I mean, his eyes lit up like that. He goes, that was a week's worth of work. Yeah, we just did it in 4 hours. But you also have the same point where the young kid's going to go, oh yeah, I'm done. I got everything. Well, hey, warranties don't need to be in the submittal log, or we're not doing underwater construction. We don't need air tank reviews in this one. That was a boiler spec, right? So it's kind of those things where, again, that blend, right? So that the older guy, the older person is going to really understand what we need on this project, but the younger generation is going to show them how we can make ourselves more efficient from this technology. They're going to be a little quicker to jump on it.